This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of Phatts TV, sanctioned by PA Phatts and the non-genetically proven Sun. Any and all words have been authorized during the show. There is nothing off limits. Nobody is restricted from watching and participating in the show. It is a free-for-all. Commencing at the siren, any and all discussions will be legal for an extended period of time. Sports, politics, and any and all controversial topics will be talked about. You have been warned. May God be with us all.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Phatts TV on this Tuesday night, January the 10th. At least I hope it's January the 10th. I am your host, PA Phatts. Joining me, as always, in the upper left-hand portion of your screen, deep in the heart of Center County, Pennsylvania, from Phatts Studio B. Coughing, as, like, there should be a production button that you press when you have to cough, so your mic turns off. But we're not that advanced yet here.
We don't have that kind of money.
The one and the only non-genetically proven Sun. So how's it going?
What do you think this is? An actual production that we planned? That's funny.
Well, funny you should say that. Because it's like literally... Like, we didn't have a show last Tuesday. I had to work really late. For those of you that don't know, my real job is an accountant. I'm a corporate accountant. And I had to work late last Tuesday. It's that time of the year. No, it's not for tax purposes. I'm not a tax accountant. I'm a corporate accountant. But I didn't get out of work until 5:40 tonight. And I got a half an hour ride. I mean, listen to me, a half an hour, I wish. I got a 50-minute ride home from where I work. So I was like, walk in the door, set up the camera, go to the bathroom, start the show. Literally.
I plan out Friday's shows, and they're usually just some topics. I'm not really going full. It's definitely winging it a little bit. This is just the definition of we're winging it.
Yeah, definitely tonight is the definition of winging it. Like, usually I try to have, like, our pictures pretty symmetrical. Like, I'm even, like, leaning a little bit to the left tonight. Like, I'm not perfectly centered. The mics could be a little bit louder. It's just the way that it is tonight. So, where's my cough button? So, how's it going? You didn't tell me how it's going.
It's going. I'm getting into my busy time of the year. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Sun's coming up.
I didn't know January is a busy time for photography.
Or where I work.
Oh,
my
where you work.
job.
Oh.
It gets busy for the next 6 weeks.
I mean, if you think about it, yeah. I mean, all right, for those of you that don't know, the non-genetically proven Sun does do sports for Penn State athletics.
Right.
So, yes, in the fall, basically all he has is football.
Pretty much.
But now he's got basketball, hockey, and wrestling. So, yeah, I guess this would be your busy time.
And every weekend from now has either wrestling or basketball for anyone, and hockey.
Yeah.
And there's a few weekends coming up where I have all three, I think.
So for those of you that have the Big Ten Network, when they do show the Big Ten Network, you can see the non-genetically proven Sun sitting at the baseline with his little recliner chair.
Yeah. So your back doesn't absolutely kill you.
Yeah.
Because trying to sit even crisscross on a basketball floor for 2 hours is not comfortable.
I bet it's not.
But if you want to turn into a Big Ten Network or wherever it is tomorrow, I will be on the baseline for Penn State, Indiana.
There you go. So what's the easiest way to find you?
Look for my hand.
I know where you sit. Like, basically, you sit in the same spot each time.
Yeah, because we have assigned seats, basically. But I'm the only blonde. I mean, the easiest way to say is I'm either 2 or 3 people away from the basket.
Yes.
So if you look at the base of the basket, where the camera guy is sitting in a chair, we're 1 or 2 people closer, and that's where I'll be.
So on TV, you're to the left of the basket, but turn it around, you sit to the right of the basket.
Yes. I sit on the left of the basket in the first half and the right of the basket if you're looking at it.
If you're looking at it.
The TV,
yes.
It's to the right, but it's still to the left.
Yes, but you're actually always, if you're looking at it, you're always to the left.
Yes.
And you always actually sit to the right of the basket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you think about that for a minute.
Well, I'm thinking about it.
Okay, then. So, if you're not doing anything tomorrow night, I'm sure Penn State, Indiana will be on TV somewhere. Big Ten Network, Fox, somewhere. What time
It's
is
a good game.
Is it 7 o'clock?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. If you have nothing to do, tune in.
It'll be a good game. Indiana's ranked. Oh, we froze.
Did we? We didn't freeze.
No, we didn't freeze. Well, the call froze.
Oh, you froze. Yeah, you are frozen.
Indiana's ranked. Penn State, honestly, it's very weird, but I mean, this is sports related, but if they were not Penn State, if let's say they were Duke, they'd be a top 10 team. But since they're Penn State, they're not. They're not even ranked.
Okay.
Because they could stick with anybody in the top 25.
Yeah, because they really showed that over the weekend against Michigan.
Did you not see them beating number 1? And then they came out and decided just to not make 1-3 the whole half.
Yeah, and then they got like blitzed in the second half.
Yeah, but they can stick with the majority of the country.
All right, so we'll talk about that on a Friday night sports show.
And we won't talk about college basketball until March.
So, tonight's about politics, and I want to start with the phrase reckless and irresponsible. What exactly do I mean? And as always, our message board is wide open should you wish to chime in.
An irresponsible. We're talking about a 16-year-old lacrosse virgin.
Ah, how'd you know? Reckless and irresponsible. That's what Grandpa Joe said last September to the revelation that there were classified documents found at the Trump, for lack of a better word, compound in Mar-a-Lago, Florida.
Compound.
He said, well, it's like a goddamn compound. It's bigger than your place, let's put it that way.
Daniel is reckless and irresponsible.
Sure, why not? So, you know, he called it reckless and irresponsible, and he said he doesn't know how, like, it's so irresponsible to have these kind of documents. Huh. Fast forward 2 months to November. While cleaning out an office that then Vice President Grandpa Joe used when he was vice president, they found classified documents. Well, what do you know?
And if you don't know, the vice president cannot declassify documents.
No.
Only the president can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. So that revelation came out yesterday. Now, the difference is his lawyers voluntarily turned him over, where Trump is maintaining that his documents are his, that he declassified them and they belong to him, which he has the right to do when he was president. As president, you have the right to declassify whatever document you want. So, apparently, these documents were U.S. intelligent materials related to Ukraine, Iran, and England. Ukraine. Interesting. Ukraine. Now, I'm not comparing what's going on in Ukraine now to the documents that were found when Grandpa Joe was vice president. Where I'm thinking is, if you remember, Grandpa Joe went over to Ukraine back when he was vice president and basically told the leader of Ukraine, you know, the U.S. is supposed to be giving you $1 billion. That's billion with a B, not million with an M. Billion with a B. That the United States was going to withhold until a particular prosecutor was fired because he was investigating a company that had ties to Biden's son. How interesting. How interesting is that? And now all of a sudden, classified documents of Ukraine were found. Here's what Grandpa Joe needs to do. And who knows if he's gonna, but Grandpa Joe needs to tell his Attorney General, Merrick Garland, that he needs to announce that a special prosecutor is going to be named to investigate this. Anything short of this, that is a cover-up. I don't care if they voluntarily turned over the documents or not. The fact is, he had them. There needs to be an investigation. Of course, Trump was all over this, saying Biden now, you know, his offices need to be raided. Just like the Mar-a-Lago compound was raided. But how interesting. How interesting. Back in September, Trump was reckless and irresponsible. And then 2 months later, they found Biden did the same exact thing. So does that make Grandpa Joe reckless and irresponsible? Question mark. What say you? I say absolutely. Because of course they're going to say, oh, this was just an accident. It was an oversight. And could it be? Sure, absolutely. It could be. But it's amazing how they were intelligence materials on Ukraine. That's the one that interests me the most. You're sitting there like you're stoned. You're literally sitting there like you're stoned.
I'm listening and learning at the same time.
So, let's see what this article says on CNN. Of all places, CNN.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to read something from CNN.
Well, I tell you what, CNN has kind of been more of the middle of the road lately.
Surprising.
Well, they found out that, you know, when they start going middle of the road, some people actually watch their channel.
Hey.
Among items from Joe Biden's time as vice president discovered in a private office last fall are 10 classified documents, including U.S. intelligence memos and briefing materials that covered topics including Ukraine, Iran, and the United Kingdom. Attorney General Merrick Garland has received a preliminary report on the documents inquiry, a law enforcement source said, and now faces the critical decision of how to proceed, including whether to open a full-blown criminal investigation. He absolutely... Let me put me back up on the screen. He absolutely has to. Because if he's going to open a full-blown critical investigation on Trump, he has to do it in this case. Or else he's going to get charged with playing favorites. It doesn't matter what the facts are. when it comes to politics. It matters what the optics are when it comes to politics. Think about that for a second. If Trump and Biden are being accused of the exact same thing, and you open an investigation for one and not the other, how is that going to play?
This wouldn't be surprising.
In the real world, not the world of the Washington elites. John Lausch Jr., the U.S. Attorney in Chicago, has briefed Garland multiple times. No additional briefings are scheduled, but would be conducted if necessary, a source said. The classified documents were dated between 2013 and 2016, according to the source. So, wow, what do you know? The documents are spanning 3 years. They were found in 3 or 4 boxes, also containing unclassified papers that fall under the Presidential Records Act. The vast majority of the items in the office contain personal Biden family documents. About his kid, I'm sure. Including materials about Beau Biden's funeral arrangements and condolence letters. So, hey, I'm just going to send Grandpa Joe a condolence letter. Hey, let's throw it in a box.
Yeah.
It's not clear if the boxes with classified documents contain personal materials. Attorney General Merrick Garland has assigned the U.S. Attorney in Chicago a holdover from the Trump administration to investigate the matter. CNN previously reported Garland made this move after receiving a referral from the National Archives. Basically, the same thing happened in the Trump case. The National Archives sent a referral. The documents were discovered on November 2nd, just 6 days before the midterm elections. Oh, so they kept it hush-hush. The documents were found 6 days before the midterm elections, and they didn't say a word to the public.
Because that surprises you, why?
Huh. How shocking. The source told CNN that a personal lawyer for Biden was closing out the downtown D.C. office that Biden used as part of his work with the University of Pennsylvania. The lawyer saw a manila folder that was labeled personal, opened the envelope, and noticed there were classified documents inside. The lawyer closed the envelope and called NARA. I'm assuming that has to do with the National Archives. After making contact with NARA, Biden's team turned over several boxes in an abundance of caution, even though many of the boxes contain personal materials. Lausch has already completed the initial part of his inquiry and provided his preliminary findings to Garland. That means Garland now must decide how to proceed. Garland was also personally involved in some of the key decision-making related to the Trump documents. In the Trump matter, Garland tapped special counsel Jack Smith to take over both the criminal investigation into Trump's post-2020 election activities and the inquiry into classified documents. Garland chose to have Lausch conduct the Biden document investigation because he is one of 2 remaining Trump-appointed U.S. attorneys to avoid the appearance of a conflict of interest, because he wasn't appointed by Biden. Now, that was a smart move by Garland. Smart move. In addition to Garland, Lausch has also conducted additional briefings with other Justice Department officials. At this point, the source said Lausch is not expected to undertake additional fact-gathering. In an awkward moment on Monday, Garland was sitting alongside Biden at a diplomatic summit in Mexico while reporters shouted questions about the probe. Both men ignored the questions. Of course. Political consequences. The turn of events with classified documents found at Biden's former office has forced some politicians into a tough spot. Trump has responded with a spat of social media posts lampooning Biden and publicly egging on the FBI to search Biden's offices and even the White House. Key Democrats at Capitol Hill have expressed confidence in Biden's handling of government materials, even though classified records turned up in a place where they weren't supposed to be. Newly empowered House Republicans have already pledged to broaden their oversight probes to include the Biden document matter. On Tuesday, the new GOP chair of the House Intelligence Committee asked the Director of National Intelligence to conduct a damage assessment for the classified records. Those entrusted with access to classified information have a duty and an obligation to protect it. I thought that was a very well-written article.
Yeah. At least it's not biased.
No. No. So, again, I think he, whether or not he's guilty of anything, and, you know, I'm not a fan of Grandpa Joe. We all know that. And I'm going to probably say that these were probably misplaced, of all probability. Probably a nothing burger, as Hillary would want to say. Carpet muncher Hillary. But it still needs a special prosecutor. Like, you have to. If you're going to do for one, you have to do for both. You have to. And let the chips fall where they may. What's your opinion?
It would make the most logical sense. I mean, the government doesn't exactly have a track record of being logical. Nobody really has a track record of being logical, because being sensible and logical isn't a thing anymore. We don't do that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, of course, we here at Phatts TV will keep our friends in the public well informed on this. So, the other thing I really wanted to talk about tonight was something happened last week that hasn't happened in 100 years.
What? Women started showing their ankles for the first time.
Close. It was their shins.
How about... Well, we haven't really had a Great Depression in about 100 years.
A little less. 94.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a quiz for all you people watching.
Quiz.
And for you. How does the Speaker of the House of Representatives get elected?
I think I know.
Go ahead.
Was it the House vote?
The House votes. So
isn't it like they go through and can nominate?
They can nominate anybody they want.
Yeah. You can become Speaker of the House.
So,
I remember this. I remember this conversation. You can get anybody can get nominated, and then they have to like debate.
So you're saying that even me as a non-member of the House of Representatives could become Speaker of the House. Is that what you're telling me?
That can happen, but it never will.
Does that sound logical?
No, not really.
But can it happen?
Yes, you don't have to be in the House to be the leader of the House.
That is correct. There is nothing in the U.S. Constitution in Article 1 that says the Speaker of the House has to be a member of the House. So yes, they could have voted for me. And if you follow my personal Facebook page, I made a post saying that they should elect me Speaker of the House.
Now, don't then, once they have a bunch of nominees, do they have to get down to 2 or something?
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
Okay. And then they just vote.
So basically, somebody gives a nomination speech, and then they vote. Now, how do you win?
See, the way now that you're asking that, it's probably not. Is it simple majority?
Nope.
66%?
Nope. Hell, if it was 66%, we'd never have a Speaker of the House.
The party that's in charge?
Nope. Nope. It's not simple majority. It's majority plus 1.
That's simple majority.
No, it's not. It's majority plus 1.
So you need 2.
So right now, you have 434 members of the House.
Tom voted for you, by the way.
As he should. As he should. You have 434 members of the House of Representatives. We normally have 435, but a Democratic representative from Virginia died in the month of December. So right now his district, it's the district that serves Richmond, Virginia, doesn't have a representative. So right now we have 434. So that means you need 217 would be 50-50 plus 1.
Yeah.
So there's your simple majority. Okay? But that's not how it works. Okay? Because of the fact that you don't have to vote. You could vote for a person or you could vote present. So let's say 2 people vote present. Well, now the House only has 432 members.
Right.
So you need 217. So majority plus 1. A simple majority would mean you would always have 434 in this case. So you would need 217 plus 1. So you would need 218.
Well, Republicans have the lead by like 20 in the House.
By 10. 222 to 212. So, what happened for the first time in 100 years?
More than half the House voted present.
No, but that would be really interesting. That would be really interesting.
I'm trying to think of something that's like really outside the box. That wouldn't happen in a normal just election of Speaker of the House. They tied.
They did not tie. And I don't know if that has happened before. I mean, normally there's 435, so normally there's not a tie, unless if somebody votes present or isn't there to vote. You can be absent, too.
Then one person voted present?
No, there was more than one.
Okay. Maybe normally people don't vote present. It's just an option.
Normally people don't. Well, you might always have a couple that vote present. I mean, I shouldn't say always. You sometimes do.
So I want to just say nobody won.
Nobody won on the first ballot. First time in 100 years that has happened. So they had to vote again. And when they vote, like normally when you vote in the House of Representatives, you have a little swipe card. You put your card in, you vote yes or no, and then you take it out. But for Speaker of the House, they go one by one, by one, by one, by one, by one, by one. So it takes about an hour to go through all of those names.
The majority of the House, the party in majority doesn't have to be the Speaker of the House.
No, absolutely not.
I feel like it doesn't happen often.
I don't know if it's ever happened. At least in today's day and age, you're never going to have Democrats voting for a Republican. You're never going to have Republicans voting for a Democrat.
In the first one, Republicans with a 10-person majority, nobody won by 2.
Nobody got, so if everybody voted and if nobody voted present, nobody got to 218. So that means there were more than 2 people that received votes.
Okay.
So they had to go to a second vote. And then they had to go to a third vote. And then they had to go to a fourth vote, and a fifth vote, and a sixth vote, and a seventh vote. And they wound up going to 15 votes.
Sounds like a giant waste of our tax dollars.
It lasted till Sunday. It started on Tuesday.
Sounds like a giant waste of the United States residents' tax dollars.
I was impressed. To me, that's democracy at work. Because you got to build a consensus then.
They just voted for the same people every time.
So the Democrats did every time. The Democrats did. They all voted for Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader of the House. Nancy Pelosi is now no longer the leader of the Democratic Party in the House. She stepped down.
Yes, the ambassador in freaking Italy. Be gone.
So well, she's still in the House. She's now a backbencher. What they consider a backbencher. She doesn't get involved anymore in the leadership responsibilities.
Be
For
gone.
now.
Be gone. Fat.
So now, Hakeem Jeffries from Brooklyn. So we went from San Francisco to Brooklyn.
I mean, Brooklyn's probably a little better than San Francisco. You gotta pick one.
He got, every Democrat voted for him every time. So he got 212 votes every time except for once or twice when there was one Democratic missing. So I think he got 211 votes, 211 once or twice. Or I could be wrong on that, and he got 212 every time. Several times there was at least 2 Republicans nominated. Sometimes 3. Sometimes 4. Matt Gaetz, who's a representative of Florida, one time nominated Donald Trump.
Huh.
He was the only one that voted for him, too, by the way.
It would have been funny if he got 100 votes. That would have been really cool if they could have consensused him into it.
And then Biden and the whore get impeached, and then he's president.
That would have been really hard without a majority in the Senate, buddy.
Yes. Well, you got to get 2/3 vote in the Senate.
Yeah.
So Tom was wrong. I don't know what Tom was thinking that he was wrong, but Tom was wrong.
The process, maybe.
So it went 15 votes, which is the longest it's gone since before the Civil War. This used to happen, I wouldn't say often, but regular, between occasionally and regularly before the Civil War. By the way, did you know that the first ever vote for Speaker, the first ever Congress, they needed a second vote? So they didn't have consensus the very first Congress. And the first Speaker of the House has a name that's pretty important in Berks County history. He wasn't from Berks County, but he served like Montgomery County. His last name is Muhlenberg.
I know a high school named Muhlenberg.
And a college named Muhlenberg.
A very small college named Muhlenberg, yes.
Yes. Well, that was the first Speaker of the House. His last name was Muhlenberg from Pennsylvania.
Interesting.
I'll have to see if there ever was since then a Speaker of the House from Pennsylvania.
I wonder if he's the only Speaker.
I'm sure there was at one point. But, so, Kevin McCarthy, who is now Speaker of the House, never got to 218 votes, by the way. So how did he win? He kept losing between like 19 and 20 votes every time. Sometimes he'd lose them to other people. Sometimes other people would just vote present.
Yeah.
So he wasn't like the first 4 days, like the first 12 or 13 votes. He wasn't the top vote getter any time. Hakeem Jeffries was.
Right.
But that doesn't matter because Hakeem Jeffries didn't get to a majority. So then keep voting and keep voting and keep voting. So on the last day, on whatever day it was, Friday is when it all ended. He relented on a couple different things that the people who weren't voting for him wanted. And he was able to get 15 people to come his way.
Right.
Which still didn't give him enough. So they voted again. And he still didn't get enough. He was 1 vote short. 1 vote short. So they decided to, and this is interesting. I've never seen this before, and I'm a nerd. I will admit I'm a political nerd. I watch C-SPAN when there's big votes. People tell me all the time, Jason, you should have went into politics. That would not be a good idea.
If you were on the House floor, the Senate floor,
I'd be expelled.
You'd be tackled by somebody because you just start throwing expletives. One,
absolutely.
You name call.
Yes.
You call people bitches.
Yes.
And just
Yes.
There's no way you could ever have been professional enough to be in a Congress.
The 3 words "go fuck yourself" would come out of my mouth way too much for me to ever being.
The best part is you'd be a Republican from, let's just say, South Carolina.
Okay.
A fairly Republican state. And it wouldn't just be to Democrats, go fuck yourself. It'd be to everybody. You'd say, you, and the red, and the blue, go fuck yourself. All of you. There's only like 3 of you I like. Lauren Boebert being number 1.
We like her.
And that's about it.
Which, by the way, she was one of the holdouts, of course. Of course. So...
Well, you didn't want her to have her Glock in Congress.
So on vote 14, which was occurring at Friday night about 10:15 it started. Maybe a little bit before, maybe about 10:10. He came up 1 vote short. 1 vote short.
I couldn't imagine being one of these people sitting there, and you're just sitting there like twiddling your thumbs for hours, early in the morning to late at night, never get to do anything with your life except sit there and say the same goddamn answer 14 times.
Well, if you were a Democrat, that's what you did, yeah.
But even the Republicans, same thing. They always just voted for McCarthy, or it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Same difference.
I mean, you didn't have to sit there, though. You could have got up and left the chamber. You didn't have to sit there. But you couldn't be sworn in as a representative until there was a Speaker of the House. So for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we had no Congress. We had no House of Representatives, is what I should say. We had a Senate. But we didn't have a House of Representatives because none of them could be sworn in. Because the Speaker of the House has to swear everybody in. So, on vote 14, he came up 1 vote short. And I'm watching this, and I'm like laughing at this point. So, they decided to take a vote to adjourn for the evening. Which, they did this on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. All the Democrats voted no. All the Republicans voted yes. So, with about 1 minute to go before the vote closed...
Why would the Democrats vote no to adjourn?
Because they wanted it to keep going to embarrass McCarthy some more.
Just go home! Gee, it's 10-something at night. You gotta be there at like 8 in the morning. Go home.
Well, no, they weren't starting till noon every day.
Okay, so you can sleep in a little bit.
Yes. So, then all of a sudden, Matt Gaetz, the guy who nominated Trump, like in vote number 5 or 6, whatever it was, and nominated Jim Jordan, nominated a couple other Republicans from the Freedom Caucus, came up and talked to McCarthy. And all of a sudden, you had this rush of people, like there was 70 of them, change their vote. Now, since by then the clock hit 0, they couldn't like insert their card to change their vote. You had to go up to the desk, fill out a sheet of paper, and change your vote. So that took like another 15 minutes. Like you literally had this rush of people go up to the desk to change their votes. They pulled out these like orange sheets of paper that were like no bigger than like a 3x5 index card. And you see them scribbling their names and whatever they were, and then they would hand them to the clerk of the House. And all of a sudden, the vote total went from like 218 to 212 to adjourn to 280 to 160 not to adjourn. Just had this mad rush. And then they voted again. And this time, the 15th time, McCarthy got enough Republicans to vote present. He got 6. So 434 minus 6 gets you to 228. So you need 228 divided by 2 is 214. So he needed 215 to get over the top. Right? My math is right, right? Mm-hmm. So 434, so 228 The Democrats got 212. He got 216. Because he got enough of the holdout Republicans to vote present, not vote for somebody else. If they voted for somebody else, we would have through the whole exercise all over again.
It's just a giant waste of time. Because you knew McCarthy was eventually just going to win. Why be stubborn?
Actually, I didn't know that, because if they held out, he was never going to win.
So what? Then what then?
He would have had to drop out, and they would have had to find a consensus candidate.
Would they have ever done that?
Oh, hell yeah. Many times. Many times there's been consensus candidates. The problem is, the people that the Freedom Caucus wanted, very conservative people, the progressive Republicans would have never have went for. So there was lots of talk. Like there were talk, as I said, like no Republican would ever vote for a Democrat, no Democrat would ever vote for a Republican. There was talks of finding a conservative Democrat that would pull some Democrat votes and some Republican votes. Well, that was never going to happen. So there was talks about different Republicans that they could vote for that would pull enough votes. But it didn't have to happen, so 15 votes it took. Of course, the liberal media was slamming this. It's an embarrassment to the Republican Party. Look how weak they are. They can't even choose a leader. I disagree. To me, it was consensus building. That's what politics is all about. It's about giving a little to get a little, giving a little to get a little, giving a little to get a little. So the conservative Republicans got a lot. No more proxy voting.
What's proxy voting?
Oh, well, right now, so you're going to be in the chamber, so you're a representative and I'm a representative. You're going to be in the chamber to vote. I'm going to be out on a golf course. I could tell you what to vote for me.
So you have to be present.
Yes, now you have to be in the chamber to vote. Now, I could understand, where proxy voting was important during COVID. I could understand that. The last thing you wanted to do when nobody knew at the beginning what, when people thought, oh, you get COVID, you could die. Remember, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Remember, you trying to kill grandma? Go back to watch Phatts TV episode 1.
In the chamber to vote on everything they vote on?
Yes.
Do they vote on something pretty much every day?
No, they don't. No.
Yeah. Because it seems like Congress, you can kind of just show up as you please.
Well, no, but they don't vote every day.
So tell me, what does a representative do?
He represents.
What are they representing? Don't say their state. Don't say their district.
The people in their districts.
Don't be like that. No shit.
So
outside of voting and debating whatever, what would they do?
That's what they do.
So they could do a whole lot of nothing.
They meet with their constituents a lot. So the idea is, true or false, the United States is a democracy.
False.
False. What are we?
Constitutional republic.
A constitutional republic, meaning we have proportional representation. We don't have direct representation. Like any of these big things that come out, we don't vote for. We vote for people that vote for. So the people we vote for are supposed to do what we want them to do. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Right now, I live in a district where I have a Republican representative. I'm a Republican. You live in a district where you have a Republican representative. You're a Republican. In fact, your representative gave a speech last night. He's a portly fellow, by the way.
According to Google, PA speaker Samuel Jackson, 1875 to 81, and Galusha Aaron, 1861 to 63.
Wow, so 2 Pennsylvania ones in a row. Interesting. Galusha. Who would ever name their child Hey, Betsy, let's name our child Galusha.
I didn't even know who my representative was. I kind of figured it was a Democrat because my district, I believe, has State College in it.
No, actually, it doesn't. It has ports of State College in it.
Okay, well that's why we have a Republican one then. I know it goes way up north. I think it goes all the way up to the northern border.
Yours goes north and west of State College.
I know it's a big district.
It is. You are in District 15. You are very close to District 10, which goes like down towards the Harrisburg area. You're very close. In fact, your zip code is in both districts.
My zip code is tiny.
Well, according to if you go to like who's my representative and put in your zip code,
yeah,
you get two different representatives.
I remember local representatives. I'm like, I can walk that way into the next district.
Pretty much, yes, yes. So your representative is supposed to do the will of the people he represents. He or she represents. That's the idea. So they meet with their constituents a lot. And they debate. And they vote. And they give speeches. And they sit on committees and subcommittees.
I feel like, though, the majority of Congress, 98%, are not going to change their mind on anything.
I would agree with that.
There's probably like 10 of them, 15 of them, that actually would maybe listen to opinions.
It depends upon what the issue is.
Non-partisan or partisan issues.
So, like, if I'm a representative from this area, I'm really going to listen to what farmers have to say when it comes to agriculture.
Well, sure.
Because I'm not an expert in agriculture.
I didn't mean it that way. I kind of meant like, there's a sitting Republican. He's not going to give a rat's ass what the sitting Democrat says. He's just going to vote what he thinks.
Of all probability, yes.
So I feel like a lot of the debating they do and the speeches they do are pointless. There's only maybe 15 of them who actually have an open mind.
Yeah, and the speeches are more designed to get your thoughts and opinions into the congressional record.
That'd be interesting if the entirety of Congress had an open mind.
That's the way it's supposed to be. That's why there's several of our founding fathers did not want political parties.
Just go with it as you want.
I believe Thomas Jefferson was one of them that argued against the formation of political parties. But be that as it may, so we now have a Speaker of the House. We now have rules. Oh, so anyway, the rules. So no more proxy voting. No more, here is the bill we're voting tonight. When a bill comes to the floor for a vote, you don't vote for 72 hours. That gives them 3 days to read the bill.
Hey, there was a bill that just came in, 2 pages.
Yes.
Get rid of all those IRS agents.
Yes.
2 pages. Simple, easy to read.
Yep.
Understood what it was. Easy enough.
Yep.
That's how all bills should be. You should know what it is. One thing.
Yep.
One thing. Easy enough.
Yep. Yep. So a lot of the new rules favor, and you could have something that's a little tricky. One person could say they want to remove the speaker, and they have to have a vote. It used to be 5. When Nancy was in charge, she basically said, yeah, basically the entire Democratic Party has to want me out for there to be a vote. See, some rules are very interchange, like, one of the first vote after the vote for speaker is on a rules package for that house. So the rules aren't always etched in stone. There's things that they have to follow, but other things they don't have to follow, they get to decide on at each Congress. So conservatives really got what they wanted. really got what they wanted. Very happy. Very happy. So that was the big thing that happened last week.
Woo!
So while you guys were doing whatever you were doing, when I was at work, I was listening to the votes. And at night, I was watching it on TV because I'm a political nerd.
I was working. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to do it for tonight's show. I wanted to keep it to an hour tonight, and we are. This Friday, you're not doing anything Friday, are you? So you don't have any sports Friday?
Nope.
Okay. This Friday is our sports Friday night. So obviously we're going to BB. Take two. We're going to be talking about the NFL playoffs, of course.
Yes, I want to do a bracket, predict it all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yep, we're going to do a bracket.
We'll do our challenge. And we'll release who gets to pick first or pick second.
Yep.
Who gets to decide.
Yep. So, do you want to explain what this is that we're talking about?
So, what I'm talking about is we did last Friday, you had to pick every game, all 16, straight up with confidence points.
Yep.
And then the person with the most points got to choose if they want to go first or they want to go second. We will disclose who won on Friday.
Yep.
And that person will get to choose if they want to go first, they want to go second.
For what?
So we get to choose. You have to choose who's gonna win the Super Bowl.
Yep. We each get 7 teams because there's 14 teams in the playoffs. So we get 7 teams. So the person that won gets to choose whether they go first or second. So now people are thinking, well, why would you choose second? Why would you choose to go second?
Because person that goes, if you decide to go first, you only get 1 pick.
Yep.
Person that goes second gets 2 picks, and then you get 2 picks again, 2 picks, and then you also get the last.
The last person gets the last team.
Yeah. So maybe there's a team that you diehard think's going to win, so you want to go first, or vice versa. Maybe you think 4 or 5 teams are going to win, so maybe you want 2 of the 3 best.
Did the Eagles make the playoffs last year? If they did, you picked first because neither of us wanted the Eagles, if I remember correctly.
I think they did make the playoffs. I think they did in the same position that I think the Seahawks are in.
Yes.
I already know what team's going to be last. Assuming, well, this is right now, I don't know. Assuming Tua is not playing, the Dolphins will go last. If Tua is playing, the Dolphins will not go last.
Which we may not know that come Friday.
Yeah, like, I know he was a game time or game week decision. I don't know. I just remember hearing about it.
Yes.
But, 9-6. Entertaining game that was. Freaking Joe Flacco couldn't beat a freaking rookie quarterback he's never played.
And if the Jets won the game, the Steelers make the playoffs.
I mean, the Packers won. They were 4-8 one time.
Yep.
4-8. All you do is beat the Lions, who didn't give 2 rats' asses.
Tom says Cowboys winning it all.
Cowboys winning it all. I mean, they look really good against Washington. If they won, they could have had the 1 seed potentially. So they should have.
A couple
tried.
other things would have had to happen.
Well, yeah. But knowing that if it goes your way, you could get the 1 seed and you lose.
Yeah. No. There's always those teams that do.
And it's not like the Eagles were convincing. I guess.
San Francisco sure was, though.
Who'd they play?
Arizona.
Ooh, that's a tough one. They might be the worst team in the league right now.
All right, so we'll be talking NFL Friday night. We'll have a brief recap on last night's college football game. Very brief.
Nothing to recap.
We will have some sort of picks. We usually don't do the Phatts Fantastic 5. But usually we make a pick for every game on the spread during the playoffs.
They're saving it. Well,
Hey, could be. You never know. You never know.
well,
If
I'll throw out a little fact.
if they win, I hope it's all chalk because I want to see them play the Eagles the week after.
I'll throw out a little fact, whether it means anything or not. They've never beaten Tom Brady.
That is true. They've never beaten Tom Brady. That is
7-0,
absolutely true.
I believe he is.
That is absolutely true. So, we will see you Friday night at 7 o'clock. I hope you all could join us for the sports edition of Phatts TV. But until then, have a safe, happy, and healthy rest of your week. Wave goodbye to the good, fine people. See ya.